The movie Spotlight won Best Picture last Sunday at the Oscars, and I did go see it recently with some of the brothers in my community. And you know, in general, I think that the film was actually very well done. The acting was excellent, and the character development of the reporters from the Boston Globe was very, very strong. I think the story moved along at a great pace, and it addressed the Boston Globe's effort to expose the priest scandal up in Boston with, I think, a measure of historical accuracy and refreshing fairness. The more lurid elements of that whole mess were addressed but not sensationalized, and I think the blame on some level was spread around. It was certainly given due focus on the cardinal and the priests who were responsible for these horrible tragedies. But it also considered the role of the attorneys and the police and prosecutors and even the media itself in that process. Now, of course, it was extremely painful to watch as a Catholic and as a priest. It zeroed in on a very, very dark blemish in the Church's history here in the United States. You know, even one child being abused is too many. And the number of priests in Boston who abuse children is just terrifying. And the fact that those priests would not have it in themselves to just step away from the ministry is so sad. The fact that the bishops reassigned so many of those culpable priests to new parishes is, you know, an unspeakable injustice. The fact that it took too long for the Church to grasp that a priest who has that weakness just cannot be in active ministry. We need to continue to pray for healing for all of those victims. And we need to remain vigilant as a church that this never happens again to children. Now, I do think that it's important to understand that the Church's response to this tragedy, since it became public, is also worth noting. The U.S. bishops right away worked and came up with a commission which produced in 2002 a charter for the protection of children and young people, a national policy for addressing sexual abuse of minors by the clergy. And this included a principle that after one offense, a priest would be removed from active work within the Church. That is, that they came up with a policy of zero tolerance. It mandated that priests go through background checks. It mandated background checks and a program of formation for everyone who has significant contact with young people in the Church, priests and lay people alike. It spurned a rather dramatic revision of the seminary application process, and it spurned a revision of the overall formation program for seminary studies, placing a whole new focus on assessing personal and human development in addition to the academic, the spiritual, the pastoral, and the communal development of the seminarians. I believe that the results of these changes have been truly promising. And the priests who were offenders have been removed from ministry. Young priests and seminarians have proven so far to be mature and committed to the protection of children. Those working with young people on every level are now vetted and formed on critical principles for working with young people and protecting them. Pope Francis has established a pontifical commission for the protection of minors, which is striving to bring the best practices for addressing this issue to dioceses around the world. And I think the church is in a very, very different place than it was in the 2000s. And as the church strives to move forward, building God's kingdom on this earth, especially among her young people, again, we need to care for and pray for the many, many victims of priestly sexual abuse within the church. We need to remain vigilant that these children don't have to suffer through this anymore, and vigilant in the protection of minors. And we need to remember that the vulnerable were dear to Jesus, and the vulnerable should be dear to us. Thank you, and God bless you.